This man made software great for personal computers. Bill Gates and his 10 rules for greatness.
We're coming up with a simple explanation for the kind of success that I've been privileged to be part of working at Microsoft. It's very difficult. Certainly there's many elements to it. The vision of the company coming right when the microprocessor was coming into its own, the focus on software and working with partners who could bring in the other elements, the focus on the long term, hiring great people, really working with customers, knowing that we'd be there working with them 10 years later and 20 years later. All of those have come together to build a great success story that's been incredibly fun to be part of. I think the people is probably the thing I'd put at the top. Vision has got to be a big part of it. But so many of these things really come down to day-to-day execution. If we'd slacked off at any point, then there would have been plenty of people to come in and take our place. And that's certainly the case as we look forward, that we have to continue to obsolete the products, continue to stay in close touch with the customers, continue to hire in great people and stay on top of the technology, or else the phenomena will continue, but we won't have the role in it that we have today. My best business decisions really have to do with picking people. Deciding to go into partnership with Paul Allen is probably at the top of the list. And then subsequently hiring a friend, Steve Ballmer. And having somebody who you totally trust, who's totally committed, who shares your vision and yet has a little bit different set of skills, and also acts as a check on you. Some of the ideas you come up with, you run by them because they're going to say, hey, wait a minute. Have you thought about this and that? And just the benefit of sparking off of somebody who's got that kind of brilliance. It's not only made it fun, but it's really led to a lot of success. So picking a partner is.
What worries you the most about Microsoft's future?
Well, I think the scariest thing is that the company would become successful enough that it would get complacent, and we'd stop worrying about what we're missing and stop really hiring the very best people or listening to customers as well as we need to. And then missing a turn in the road would become very, very easy. People hold us up to an incredibly high standard now. Whenever analysts ask me, well, aren't you going to earn a lot more profits? I'm saying, no, lower your estimates, please.
Yeah, but you just exceeded your estimates for the last time out.
And we still want them to lower their estimates.
Yeah,
no,
right.
Seriously, I mean, the business is more competitive than they're giving it credit for. And it is a challenge, take our office business, to keep growing that and keep doing new things. So, I don't see any room for complacency here. I do see immense opportunity.
So you are here with your daughter, who is 21, right? And you were 21 when you became a billionaire. Is that right?
Almost, yep.
All right, so around that age. You were like the youngest person to become a billionaire. Is that right?
Yeah, in terms of my own, earning it on my own, yeah.
Right. Okay, so, well, it's just the most important thing, yes. So when you were a kid, did you care about money, or you just cared about technology and it just happened?
Mostly I loved software. I do remember at the private school I went to, there were other kids whose families were better off, like they had a Porsche or something, but it wasn't that big of a deal. My thing was that I just loved doing software, I loved hiring people, and I was stunned when it ended up being so valuable.
Really?
Yeah.
It surprised you?
Yeah, because I always had to be careful that we wouldn't hire too many people. I was always worried because people who worked for me were older than me and they had kids, and I always thought, well, what if we don't get paid? Will I be able to meet the payroll? So I was always very conservative about the finances. And then when we did go public, what was I, 30 by then I was kind of stunned at what it multiplied out to.
I didn't think of it as all that risky. I mean, I was so excited about what we were doing. It's true I could have gone bankrupt, but you know, I had a set of skills that were highly employable, and in fact, my parents were still willing to let me go back to Harvard and finish my education if I wanted to.
You've always got a job with me, Bill.
And the thing that was scary to me wasn't quitting and starting the company. It was when I started hiring my friends and they expected to be paid. And then we had customers who went bankrupt, customers that I'd counted on to come through. And so then I got this incredibly conservative approach that I wanted to have enough money in the bank to pay a year's worth of payroll, even if we didn't get any payments coming in. And you know, I'm almost true to that the whole time. We have about 10 billion now, which is pretty much enough for the next year. Anyway, you know, if you're going to start a company, it takes so much energy that you know it better overcome your feeling of risk. I don't think that you necessarily, if you're going to start a company, should do it at the start of your career. I think there's a lot to be said for working for a company, learning how they do things. You know, if you're young, it's hard to go lease premises. They made that hard for me. You couldn't rent a car when you were under 25 at the time, so I was always taking taxis to go see customers. And the people would, you know, people would say, well, we're going to go have a discussion in the bar. Well, I couldn't go to the bar. But you know, that's fun, because I'll tell you, when people are first skeptical and they think, oh, this kid doesn't know anything, then when you show them you've really got a good product and you know something, they actually tend to go overboard and they think, whoa, you know, they know a lot. Let's really do an incredible amount with these people. So our youth, at least in this country, was a huge asset for us once we reached a certain threshold. It is hard. It's hard to hire older people because they'll be a little bit conservative about whether they should come and take the risk. And it took 3 or 4 years before we could go out into the normal sort of employment pool. But those problems that come with starting a firm, you better think of those as part of the pleasure, part of the challenge that is part of the excitement.
My calendar gets very full with those, and then at night, after the kids have gone to bed, I'm on email a great deal. I get messages during the day. That's my chance to give long responses. And then over the weekend, I send a lot of mail as well. I take 2 weeks a year to just go off and read and think, where I'm not interrupted by work or anything else. I'm just solidly trying to think about the future, and people get to send me things to read as part of that so-called Think Week. So it's a nice mix of things. About 25% of the time then I'm out traveling around, meeting with customers, Europe, Asia, and that sort of helps me think, okay, do we have the right priorities? What are people responding well to, and what would they like to see us do better?
Well, in my 20s and 30s, I was fanatical about software. You know, I didn't believe in vacations, didn't believe in weekends. You know, I was focused on software day and night. You know, I knew everybody's license plate. I knew when they came into the parking lot, when they left. And I knew every line of code. And you know, I enjoyed being a fanatic. And you know, I was really focused on Microsoft doing great software, and you know, learning from our mistakes and hiring the best people. Well, I think that the key point there is you've got to enjoy what you do every day. And for me, that's working with very smart people. It's working on new problems. You know, every time we think, hey, we've had a little bit of success, we're pretty careful not to dwell on it too much, because the bar gets raised. People's expectations of the products, we've always got customer feedback telling us the machines are too complicated, they're not natural enough. And the competition, the breakthroughs, the research make the field I'm in, I think, the most exciting field there is. There's some other good fields. Biotechnology is a good field because it's
changing the world of medicine and health. But the computer industry, in particular software, I think is the most exciting, and I think I have the best job in that business. Probably the most important decisions I make are a lot like when I pick what technologies the company's going to bet on. Those are a bit like Warren's, where you really have to be willing to be contrary, to leave some things aside and to go into some places that aren't very hot. If you get outside of that technical realm, I'm super lucky. I have Steve Ballmer, who's now CEO of Microsoft, and we're in each other's offices almost every day. He's more of a business type thinker. I'm more of a technology type thinker, but we a little bit have learned what the other one's going to say over the years, so we can give each other a hard time about the positions we expect. Outside of that, if I had some really tough decision, I'd talk to my dad, I'd talk to Warren, I'd talk to my wife Melinda. So I have enough people that know me and actually know where my judgment isn't its strongest, where I might get overexcited about something or forget to think about something. And so they're good at correcting, particularly Melinda, good at correcting whatever those blind spots are. And I think it's good to encourage your friends and advisors to really give them that license. I can go to a party and forget to say hello to various people or something. That's a very minor example of my blind spots.
Not to the hostess.
Well, Melinda would help me do that.
Yeah, she would,
So, a small number of people that you can turn to on certain key things is a great asset.
And incidentally,
one habit that I developed when I was at college that was actually a very bad habit, which was I like to show people that I didn't do any work and that I didn't go to classes and I didn't care. And then at the very last minute, like 2 days before the test, I'd get serious about it. And people thought that was funny. That was my positioning, the guy who did nothing until the last minute. Then when I went into business, that was a really bad habit, and it took me a couple of years to get over that. Nobody praised me because I would do things at the last minute, and I tried to reverse to students I didn't think that highly of, who were always organized and had things done on time. I'm still working on it, but procrastination is not a good habit.
Windows. Microsoft first came up with the Windows concept back in 1983. And today, the leading software users have switched into the Windows environment. It's really incredible how quickly our powerful applications like Word and Excel and PowerPoint have been adopted. It's not just Microsoft applications. Even companies like WordPerfect and Lotus have now come out with Windows applications. And every week, we see new innovative work. It's really attracting all the innovation in the industry. We predicted this a long time ago, and now it's the future. Let's take a look.
I have like a million things to ask you. First of all, if you can, describe for us succinctly what it is that you did better and first that put you where you are today. What was the core of this? What was the seed? What is the essence of Microsoft? When and how did that happen?
Okay. I think there's a lot of elements that go into it. A vision of what software could do.
What was the vision? What was your vision?
Well, a computer on every desk and in every home.
Right. I don't have one on my home or in my
We're
desk.
working on
or
that.
Vice versa. But there was more to it than just that vision. You must have known, how early did you realize you knew something that could be exploited and to this extreme?
Well, there were a small group of people who saw what this chip could do as it became more powerful. And we sort of felt like a special group because we were all working on it. And we thought someday these big computer companies are going to have a huge problem, and this thing is going to reach out to the entire world. But every year we just kept hiring more people, working on it. It's been 20 years since we started it, and we're not really to the full realization of that vision even today.
Yeah.
I've been waiting more than 30 years to say this. Dad, I always told you I'd come back and get my degree. I want to thank Harvard for this honor. I'll be changing my job next year, and it will be nice to finally have a college degree on my resume. I applaud the graduates for taking a much more direct route to your degrees. For my part, I'm just happy that the Crimson called me Harvard's most successful dropout. I guess that makes me valedictorian of my own special class. I did the best of everyone who failed. But I also want to be recognized as the guy who got Steve Ballmer to drop out of business school. I'm a bad influence. That's why I was invited to speak at your graduation. If I'd spoken at your orientation, fewer of you might be here today.
I want to talk about the fact that this is my last keynote. It's the middle of this year in July that I'll move from being a full-time employee at Microsoft to working full-time at the foundation, as you heard. And so this will be the first time since I was 17 that I won't have my full-time Microsoft job. And I'm not really sure what that last day is going to be like. It could be a bit strange. What do you do on your last day? So I asked some friends to help me prepare for that. And so we got together and did a little video. So let's take a look at that.
It is a day the industry never thought would come. Join us all day as we report on Bill Gates' last full day at Microsoft.
It's been in the planning for the past 2 years. He'll still be active as chairman. It's hard to believe it's really here. Yeah, I think Bill's ready for his last day. He's worked pretty hard, saved a little bit. He is completely focused.
I mean, Bill's been going all out for more than 30 years, so not having a completely full schedule every day has been a little, well, interesting.
Never doubt the magic of software. That's right, listen to Chewbacca.
After all these years, he's finally taking work-life balance seriously. He's even got a personal trainer.
All right, that's good. 1 in a row. And you keep this up, you're gonna get Sexiest Man Alive next year, bro. That's good for the set, man. You wanna let it go or you wanna keep going?
Well, am I ready to take my shirt off?
Not yet. Feel yourself going back, lean a little forward. Just think high, H-I, to the sky. You and I, right now.
Yeah, Bill's always been a bit of a ham. But more importantly, it's the creative risks he takes that really set him apart.
Big pimpin', I'm Bill G. Big pimpin', yeah, you know me.
Got it. Killed it, Billy G.
Hey, let me get one thing straight with you. You can retire and then unretire?
Exactly. Gotta keep him guessing.
Thanks, Jay.
No, it was great. Not so much. Couldn't break his heart, though. Somebody gotta tell him. It's horrible.
Bill's always been a big fan of the movies, but he's probably gone a bit too far with this whole audition reel thing.
Who are you expecting? Superman?
Bill, what money can't buy. Yeah, I just watched it. Yeah, look, we all know it's all about casting anyway, right?
I know, Stephen, I can't play Bill Gates. It's just not something I'm good at. Once you get Russell Crowe to do it, you can be, oh, you did, yeah. How about Tom Hanks? You work, passed on that one, too?
Hey, I was thinking the last time I was on the show, I thought it was really successful.
Yeah, no, you were great on the show, man. We loved it. It was, although, you know, you did kind of run off at the end, like I, you know, had monkeypox.
Windows Vista on sale. Oh, he's leaving.
You want to come back on the show? That's fine. That's, you know, we...
Maybe we could make it sort of a regular thing, like you, me, the news.
A co-anchor kind of a situation. It's a great idea. I got to tell you, it's a great idea. It's the only thing is, I'm on my jet right now, and I'm worried the phone they have to turn it off, or it will throw off the navigation system on the
And you didn't hear this from me. It's a pretty strange coincidence that his transition date is right in the middle of the 2008 presidential campaign.
I know you're super busy, but I'm sure you're starting to think about who would be your best running mate.
No, I know I haven't actually declared a running mate yet, Bill, but I'm not sure politics is really for you.
Hey, it's Bill.
Bill Shatner of Star Trek?
No, the other Bill.
Bill Clinton?
Oh, hey, Bill. No, it's not an inconvenient time. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that was a good one.
Trust what you do.
Of course, we'll miss him in the daily brainstorming meetings. He's always been an innovator, really inspiring all of us to think creatively about the future. And we'll be the first to give credit where credit is due.
Oh, absolutely. Microsoft Bob, his idea, all his.
Like I said, we've been planning for this. But he's still Bill, and we'll miss seeing him in the hallway every day. Hey, buddy. See you tomorrow at the board meeting.
And all tech markets remained steady as Bill Gates completed his historic last full day at Microsoft. Personal note, all of us here at NBC News will miss reporting every night on this brilliant, powerful, let's face it, sexy and good-looking leader of men and women who just doesn't believe in paying more than $7 for a haircut.
When we can learn from people who have achieved great level of success, and the phrase stand on shoulders giant. So for example, you've just watched a series of what make this person great. Now if you adopt these same behaviors, some may work for you, some may not. But the series and other videos that we share will hopefully help you achieve levels of greatness in your life. Adopting behaviors that successful people do will only help you out achieve more. You can take some and you can drop some. You don't have to do them all. Some may work for you, some may not. So hopefully you learn from these behaviors, you start adapting some to your life. I get to create a video about what makes you great in the future. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I appreciate you watching these videos. Thank you.